Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Garcia,
I'm Nick Nielsen.
and today, coming off of what is a less than ideal series to say the least, definitely subpar. Yeah, two thumbs down. This is definitely a two thumbs
And
down
not the
series.
not the Todd Frazier good two thumbs down. Like holy shit, two thumbs down.
Yeah, it was a bad series. We had that second game that looked like, hey, did the Yankees turn a corner offensively at least? And then the second game, you got that rude awakening of no, they did not. They did not find that. They did not turn that corner yet.
I thought
Um,
Heaven's rain delay was that moment, you know? Like I think it was I forget who it was on Twitter. It could have been Gabe Playoff Tanaka that said this will be the intro to the World Series DVD. Was the rain delay. And then the third game, like you said, yeah, just no. It was somehow even worse than the first game, which yeah. Wait, what happened, Ryan? Can you explain to me like why this offense that is different? It's very different than last year, and I stand by that firmly. But why is this offense doing the exact same thing that they did last year? Why are we still struggling with runners in scoring position?
well, I mean, I guess there's like at one point you kind of have to wonder: is there a good answer to that question? Because you can see some of the balls that we're hitting going for outs, and it's just like what like at some point you have to imagine that it doesn't like that team that those hard hit balls start dropping, right? Like you
They
have to
have to.
imagine,
Like
right? Like
Gallo has to get a home run here sooner or later, right? Like there's
yeah,
no way he can't. His ex Woba was like better than Seiya Suzuki's before. I will say before Sunday's game, but he didn't even play Sunday. He just came in for an at bat. We'll talk about that later. Like again, don't understand the rest days, but like you're right. But that's the problem. This team, I feel like, has had the same narrative now for 2 or 3 years, where it is extreme like things that you love to see off of the bat, where it's like great exit velocity, great hard hit percentage, a lot of barrels, a lot of expected numbers that should go our way. But then you look at the results and it's like, we just can't manufacture runs. We've got guys like Aaron Hicks, who literally is the best player in baseball when no one's on base. And then when someone's in scoring position, he just is a GIDP machine. So it's like, I don't know.
and another thing that I find interesting is, and I don't know, and I know you could probably tell this from just watching the games, but I do want to cite a stat here. O swing percentage is your outside of zone swing percentage. The Yankees are chasing a lot. Like they're
Yeah.
chasing at a lot of pitches right
Donaldson is a
now.
lot, dude.
Yeah, Donald's like the Yankees are have the highest chase rate in baseball according to O swing percentage. I want to. There's two different types of O swing percentage. There's one from Pitch Info, and then there's Fangraphs version of it. So I'm gonna double check now to make sure the Yankees lead in both. Yep, the Yankees lead in both categories. Doesn't matter
Adds
which
up.
version of chase rate you use. It's
So
absurd.
terrible, dude. Like how and
Yeah,
this team, like we talked about, they love to work counts and take walks as well. So it's so hard because you see guys put together like A tier at bats constantly. And then the next time around, it's just one of the worst at bats you've seen. Like Donaldson has had three or four minimum, like I'm saying three or four. He's had, in my opinion, about 13 or 14 really good at bats this season. And he's gotten hits on, I want to say 4 or 5 of them, and then a couple of them were really bad batted ball luck. Some of them were just insane pitches. But like then you look at the other at bats and it's like JD, you took 2 strikes down the middle and then you swing at a slider outside the zone and you're done. Or when their base is loaded with 2 out, he swung at the first pitch and grounded out. So it's like some of the times I'm just like, this team is so disciplined. And then I'm like, this team is so mentally not there. It's a very hard love-hate relationship through these 10 games. And I know it's only 10 games, but we talked about this in our last episode. We had to end this series 7-3 for me to feel good and for you to feel good. And we don't even not only win the series, but we lose 2 games. It's like, what the hell? And we scored 2 runs or 1 run in both those games combined. It's like, what is this?
yeah, and I mean Donaldson's kind of like the poster child for in terms of like the chase rate issues, right? He's
Yeah.
was at a 20% chase rate last year. He's above 40% right now.
And that's got to come
Against
down, but it's like so frustrating to see for a guy of his level too, like his pedigree. Like I understand if it was like IKF doing that, you know, but for a guy that literally, as we've talked about, and I fucking love Donaldson, that's like a hitting guru. What is this?
I feel like over time, and I want to emphasize this, right? I've been preaching to the choir about this, right? 10 games of data is is 6% of the full.
Substantially small,
Yeah,
very small. I
it's
know.
so insignificant. And I want to remind people watching, 10 games. Yes, this is gonna suck to hear because yes, you do hear this every single year, but that's because every single year, not just to the Yankees, but to any team, that is true. 10
Yes,
games cannot define your season in April. It can those 10 games come back to bite you in the butt? Yes. But that doesn't mean that it necessarily ends your season, right? The
you're
Red
right.
Sox just dropped the game to the
Yeah, they're
To
five
the
and five as
Twins.
well,
Rays are 5-5. Blue Jays are the only really team in the division to get off to a good start at
and
six
they're
and
6 and
four.
4, aren't they? Like they're a game ahead of us, and I think it's like you said, it's 10 games, but man, it's hard because that's what we have to go off of right now. Like that's our sample size for this season because for a lot of people, last year doesn't matter. Like for whatever reason, they don't care about what your stats were last year. They want to see what you're doing right now. And again, I'm on your side. I love the advanced metrics and I love all the expected stats. But there are people out there that watch this that are thinking to themselves, well, if this team has great like expected results, why aren't we getting the results? And the truth is, I don't know. Like that's just how baseball works. And the law of averages suggests, like you said, over the course of 162 games, this is definitely going to balance out. But like I'm like it's hard for me to look at guys, especially like Gallo right now, and expect anything less than what I know he can give me, if that makes sense. Like when I look at Joey Gallo, I'm not expecting an automatic out like everyone else is at this point for whatever reason. I'm not expecting him to strike out or to just pop up. I'm expecting Joey Gallo to drive the ball, hit it into the gap, even with the shift, or hit a home run, or work a 6-7 pitch at bat into a walk. Like I know Joey Gallo is a great baseball player, but he's not showing it right now. So it's like it's just frustrating because it's been 10 games. And in another 10 games, Joey Gallo could have 1,000 OPS. Like that's what's crazy about so early on in the year.
Right, and you touched on this where you said, some people don't care about how the Yankees finished last year, right? But will care about how Joey Gallo played last year and cite that as a reason to say, well, this
They
isn't a small
pick their
sample
shit,
size.
dude. They pick and choose, and it's infuriating. Like there's some people out there that are even like content creators, I'm not gonna bash, that like pick and choose who they want to hate on, or pick and choose what parts of the Yankees offense they want to gripe on. Like for whatever reason, Aaron Hicks still gets more hate than anyone. But it's because of Hicks's like clutch hitting. I will say it's not been good. But Hicks as a whole has been one of our best players to start the season. So he should not be in anyone's mouth in terms of a bad sense. Like I get the GIDP problems, but we've grounded into 10 and he has 2. So we can't just say that it's all Hicks grounding out into double plays. And like you said, they just pick and choose their shit. Like last year, it matters for some players and it doesn't for others. This year, the results early on matter for some players and it doesn't for others. And it's just like keep that same energy for everyone. I am frustrated and pissed off with IKF. Don't get me wrong. But he is in no way this bad for the entire season. The only one I'm really worried about is Higgy. And that's just because Higgy has never done anything to show me that he can hit in a consistent period of stretches to where I'm like, oh, well, we should just give him another 100 at bats and he'll figure it out. Especially with Jesus reincarnate, happy late Easter, Jose Trevino behind the dish. Why even try to platoon them at this point? Trevino's fucking stealing home. Like what? On a
He
wild
has
pitch,
been
sure, but the dude booked it. He was like Lightning McQueen. He was speed.
he has a stolen base on the year, actually, so technically the base
He and
running
Gary
value
both
is
now. Isn't
high.
that crazy?
Yeah, Gary did steal a base today, which is insane to think about.
Imagine getting a base steal stolen on you by Gary. Like if I was a catcher, I'd just be like, you know what, I'm just going to first base now.
Yeah, and you hit on this Higgy and Higashioka, Higgy and IKF. I think those are really the only two positions where I'm like, maybe the Yankees are going to have to look at these position groups at the deadline.
Yeah.
But when like a lot of people are like, oh, overhaul, what are the Yankees going to do at the deadline? Oh my God, this and that. First base, very happy at first base. Second
Loving
base,
it, dude.
LeMahieu.
Rizzo's defense, by the way, is
Yeah,
back, dude. It's been insane the plays he has saved.
and look at LeMahieu has been phenomenal. I mean,
EJ,
phenomenal.
2 bags, baby. Extra base
Yeah,
hits. He's elevating the ball, and he is fucking hitting. Like, I think he's had 2 or 3 games already with multiple hits. And, like,
yeah.
we want to say that DJ doesn't deserve playtime over Glaber? Like, come on. Like, that's what I hate about this team construction. And this weekend sucked, where it's like we had one of our better players every day against the Baltimore Orioles on the bench. There is no way in hell we should be sitting Judge. We should not be sitting Gallo and Rizzo, only to bring them in the 7th inning. It's like, that's not a rest day. That's just you trying to say, oh, yeah, we can give them time off because we think we can win this game without them. When in reality, we need these games. We cannot drop games to Baltimore when you have the Blue Jays, the Rays and the Red Sox in the division. Like, it's just you can't win the division that way. And that's why it sucks so early on. That it's like, if we swept Baltimore, I'd be feeling great going into Detroit. Even if we won each game 2-1, 1-0, 3-1 in extras, I would still be like, hey, we won all three. Pitching shut it down, and we got clutch hits. But instead, it's like Nestor had one of the best games we may see from a Yankee pitcher this year, and the offense said, screw that, we don't care. And then the best moment of the season was the rain delay that literally lasted 1 inning. We had 1 inning worth of offensive production. And then it's like, well, what happened?
Yeah, and talking about Nestor a little bit, I believe we talked about this in the last podcast. We were like,
We
at
love
what
Nestor.
point, right? At what point is Nestor Cortez no longer just, hey, he's a fun pitcher, and now becomes like, this guy's a very, very, very good pitcher?
I think it was yesterday.
I really do think we're hitting that threshold of like, the conversation now becomes, okay, not only is he like a fun pitcher to watch, and I think that's always been the case. I think he's always been a fun pitcher to watch. Again, small sample size. I'm gonna just emphasize that very quickly. But in his last 11 starts, he's averaging over 5 innings a start. He's got a 2.59 ERA, which is phenomenal, right? You look at the strikeout to walk percentage, 31.5% strikeout percentage, 5.5% walk percentage. Good for a FIP at 3.57, Sierra and XFIP low threes. You
so
get the
good.
quality the quality of contact, right? Relatively average, right? We know that when he does get hit, he will get hit hard because doesn't have overpowering stuff.
Yeah, unless
But
he locates it well. In that case, he does induce a good amount of ground balls. Like, when he
and
misses a spot because he doesn't have high velo, it does get crushed. But when he hits his spots, you get a lot of ground outs. You get a couple broken bats because of his cutter. Like, I
and
just
a lot of
I
pop
love
ups.
everything about Nestor, and a lot of pop ups. We had
Yeah, the
like 3 or
pops are
4, maybe 5 infield pop ups with Nestor.
what
And
he
it's like,
does
wow,
very well. And what he does very well is he fills the zone, right? Like, one
doesn't
thing we
work
saw
around
in this
hitters.
series, one thing we saw in this series that I think, kind of gets overlooked is the Yankees walked so many Oriole batters. In that
It,
first game, the Yankees walked 9 Oriole
It just doesn't make
batters.
sense because their team batting average as a whole, I want to say, is like 180 on the season. I want to say they're last in batting average, or bottom 5 in batting average, but they're like top 10 and top 5 in OBP. That team, their offensive calling card is that they work counts. They will see pitches and they will not swing at really bad pitches. There's a reason that Nestor's immaculate inning was as good as it was, and that's because every single one of those pitches was in the strike zone except for 1 or 2. And they were like disgustingly good pitches that fell out of the strike zone at the last minute. So it's like, when you watch guys come in, like you said, it's frustrating when you walk people like Arias or Mateo, or I like Santander, but like when you walk Santander, and it's like, or Robinson Chirinos had one of the greatest at bats I've ever seen against Jonathan Loaizaga, and it's like, what the hell is this? So it's like, it's just some frustrating little things about pitching. But as a whole, dude, I am so proud of this staff. Like, Matt Blake deserves a fucking bottle of champagne after all of this. Like, he is turning the staff into, in my opinion, the best staff in baseball.
Yeah, and there are some guys who are struggling. Like Loaizaga notably has not been Loaizaga,
He got
but I
railed
think
that
that's
last game, though.
yeah, I think this is a matter of command, right? Like the stuff is still there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just a command thing, and I think that'll return to him hopefully shortly. But when you look at that pitching staff, as you mentioned, it has been the anchor. It's been the calling card, the identity of this team for what feels like forever now, right? Like ever since the calendar flipped to 2021, ever since Matt Blake had a full regular off season with
Yep.
the New York Yankees, the Yankees calling card has been their pitching staff, and it's been phenomenal to watch. You see guys who have no business like initially you think this guy has no business being this good, and they end up becoming even better than what you could have perceived to be. I remember when we got Clay Holmes, I thought he could be a good reliever.
Yeah.
Clay Holmes has not just been a good reliever.
He's been a
Clay
top
Holmes
10 reliever in the AL since we got him.
he is incredible. Absolutely dominant. Michael King. I always thought
That's
he'd be a
why those
solid
guys
pitcher.
are now splitting saves. Like, they earn this shit, you know?
Yeah.
They've earned their dues. Clay Holmes, I know. I forget the one Yankees account, like the guy that works for Barstool. I think it's Tony Smokes or whatever.
Yeah.
That guy,
Tommy
first
Smokes.
of all, yeah, Tommy Smokes. Not a big fan of his content, but that's just me. I'm not going to bash another fellow content creator, but I'm not a big fan of the way he goes about doing his shit. However, it's it's almost amusing when you look at how he and a lot of other Yankees fans at the time reacted when that trade happened for Clay Holmes. And it was Park has so much talent. He can hit the shit out of the ball, just never got a shot. And then Clay Holmes, not good. But look at it. Look at who's developing Clay Holmes. It's Pittsburgh. They have somehow managed to take Mitch Keller and run him into the fucking ground. They got rid of Garrett Cole because they didn't know what to do with him. They got rid of Tyler Glasnow because they didn't know what to do with him. They traded for an injured Chris Archer. And they got rid of Shane Baz to do so. So it's like this team knows nothing about pitching. So when you see stats on the Pirates, you should not care about it. Their best pitcher in the past 5 years was a guy that literally assaulted kids. So that should tell you everything you know about the Pirates. Mr. Valdez.
Vasquez.
It was Felipe Vasquez. Vasquez.
And as the Pirates have gotten a couple guys, like Rosny Contreras.
No, he's very good. Very good.
They've gotten
Clay
guys,
Holmes is literally our closer now. Like we have to understand how important he's been.
Yeah, and on top of that, the Pirates, I think it was a matter of Holmes was there for a while, right? Like I think if you give I think nowadays, like this year, right? Like if you gave the Pirates a pitcher that just came up, they'd be able to kind of figure them out. Sure. But I think it's kind of a thing where Holmes clearly needed a new pitching staff, not new pitching staff, new pitching coach, new environment. He got that new environment. He got what he needed, and the Yankees took full advantage of it. And that's something they really wouldn't have done in the past. And I think him, King, Litke is developed. I know Litke had a rough outing against Orioles yesterday, but for the most part of the season, still has a sub. He has a 0.1 FIP, which is really funny. But taking guys who aren't, you could say maybe they'll be good, but you never say those guys are dominant, elite, overpower these guys, relievers. And I saw
not household names.
Michael King was pumping 97 miles per hour against
Michael
the Orioles.
King's looked so good since he's in every appearance he's come in this season. He's looked very good in my opinion. I'm very happy with Michael King.
I feel like ever since that outing, right before he got injured against the Mets, where he came out of that bullpen, struck out 9 guys over 4 innings, he has been a completely different pitcher, right? You remember the walk issues and all that stuff. His walk rate since that point, 5.5%. Strikeout rate.
He doesn't give up at free at bats, and that's what you want from pitchers. That's why when they walked 9 Orioles the first day, and I think they walked 6 or 7 the third game, and then the second game they walked a couple as well. It's guys, this is the Orioles lineup. I understand if we're pitching around the Blue Jays or the Rays or the Red Sox. But the Orioles, this is the team we should attack. This is a team we should not have to extend our bullpen against. We had an extra innings game that was literally the most boring baseball game I think I've ever watched. And then it followed up with a 1-0 loss on Sunday and a nasty Nestor, the People's Ace masterclass. So it's I'm just kind of getting to this point now where it's Clay Holmes is one of the many guys in the bullpen that I am so impressed with and I'm loving seeing and loving their stuff. And I'm honestly loving the way that Boone is using the bullpen. I will say I had a bit of a problem, in the second game against Baltimore. That was a bit of a oof. And then honestly, same in the third game, that was a bit of an oof, where it's you had Loaiza pitch to the lefty, Odor with a high pitch count when he clearly didn't have it, and then you brought in Litke to pitch to the righty, and he got hit again. So it's there's just a few minor things, but the problem is that I can't just sit here and be that's a great sign, because honestly, all season long and all last year, that was our MO. The bullpen and the pitching was never really the problem. And now it's to the point where it's the offense's problems have bled over into this season and have carried over for about a week and a half now, that it's just kind of getting frustrating. It's we're beating our head against the wall with a lot of these guys and expecting it to turn around. Give me your honest thoughts here. What are your thoughts on Gleyber's sacrifice bunt in the 4th inning with, I believe, DJ on first? What were your honest thoughts when that happened?
When I saw it, I didn't really, I can't even articulate the level of frustration that was, because I know Gleyber's gotten off to a poor start, but at that point,
you don't sacrifice bunt with Higgy and IKF behind you.
And on top of that,
maybe it should be, it was Higgy and IKF. Why?
Up to that point, Gleyber had, a 400 expected base average. He had barreled 9.5% of balls he hit. He was just getting a little bit unlucky with his batted balls.
This series, he was 0 for 10 against Baltimore. Really, just this series, he was getting really unlucky and struggling. So it's if he had just at least tried to swing, maybe he could have hit something. Again, the guy that pitched against us on Sunday, did he not have a 5 ERA?
Yeah.
Or it's these guys are not proven good pitchers. No offense to Baltimore. but there's a reason they had to move back their wall and change the entire dimensions of their outfield. No one can pitch there and pitch well. So it's like we go over there and we score a total of 6 runs in 3
Yeah, we average
games.
2 runs a game. 2 runs a game.
We haven't scored 6 or more runs a game this year.
It's awful.
And I bet the over on like 3 Yankees games. What the hell, guys?
Costing you money, man. I would not.
I
bet on
know
this team
it's
right now. I
tenors,
really
but come
wouldn't.
on.
And one thing that's interesting to note from this series that we need it to change, right? The Yankees need to hit extra base hits. Good God, this team can only hit singles. It's like,
Like we have the lowest slugging I think we've had through a 10-game stretch in like team history.
dude, the last like 178 games or 170 something games, the Yankees have been like such a poor slugging percentage team. I
It's
think
so
they're slugging
weird.
on. Yeah, the Yankees right now are slugging 366. Like
Like
that's
even everyone on the team should be slugging at least 440 except for like 2 guys.
Yeah, and like for example, I'm gonna try to pull up since last year what the Yankees have slugged. No, not trying to. I clicked 2020. Yeah, I'm
I
gonna.
will say last year was super crazy because if you took away Judge and Stanton, our team slugging was bottom 8 in the league, bottom 6 in
Yeah,
the league. And then you have them and I think we're top 12.
it's just like, you know,
It's infuriating to watch. It's like when you have these guys that are literally, for a lot of them, I'm not saying for all of them, for a lot of them that have a power profile, a swing happy, I'm going to hit the ball, and when I hit it, I'm going to hit it fucking hard type of player. For all these guys, they're struggling. Like Donaldson's home run, his pimp shot, awesome. And then he hit a scorching double later on, awesome. And then the next day, Donaldson comes out and strikes out 3 times. And it's like, where was what happened? Like, and I understand it's inconsistencies, but it's the swinging at bad pitches. It's the expected batting average when he rips a hard hit ball. He doesn't have the launch angle on it he wants, so it's just a scorching ground out. And it's like, well, shit, that had an expecting batting average of 400, but he hit it so hard into the ground. So it's like it's just infuriating to watch a lot of these guys. Joey Gallo has just missed like 4 home runs. He's like barely under like 3 or 4 of them I can recall. And it's like when that happens, this offense will start clicking and the numbers will go up. And Yankees fans will be like, oh, this team's fun again. But the hard thing is that I don't know if this team is, to say a word, consistent. Like, I don't know if we're going to be that team that can go 20 game stretches and go 15-5, 14-6. I think we're going to be the team that has 5-5 stretches and then 8-2 stretches. Like, it's just hard for me to like look at this team and be like, there's a lot of consistency right now, because there are guys that are getting consistent days off that shouldn't be getting days off.
right.
And that's what's the most infuriating, the way this roster is constructed to where now it's like, why are we literally going to have it so Hicks, LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, Gallo, DJ, and Josh Donaldson are sitting more than IKF and Gleyber Torres?
Yeah, and ultimately down the stretch, or not down the stretch because we just got season
Yeah.
started, but down the last few weeks of April or last few games of April, one thing I would like to see, and I think this is a good place for us to kind of end this episode, the things we want to see, right?
Yeah.
The Yankees, ever since the start of last year, are last in doubles, last in triples, 7th in home runs, right? I would like them to crack that
weird.
top 5. Yeah, I would like them to crack into the top 5 in home runs, and I'd like them to be close to average in extra base hits. I know Yankee Stadium's not great for triples, so
No,
don't
triples
even
are
worry
never going
about.
to happen in Yankee
Yeah,
Stadium.
doubles even, like
Unless
you hit a
you're
ball
Jazz
hard off the
Chisholm.
wall. Right, and if you hit the ball hard off the wall in Yankee Stadium, I get it. I know that those don't go for doubles. Don't get me wrong. Not expecting this team to lead the league in doubles because of their ballpark. So, not at all concerned about the Yankees not being like the best team hitting doubles.
But I just want
However,
them to be above average, not be
right,
like
get
bottom.
better. Yeah, get close to average in those categories, right? I want the Yankees to have a higher slugging percentage, and to be more disciplined, right? I want this team to be able to still work walks. That is your identity. Do not let that identity go. And on top of that, I want to see Hicks staying at leading off. I think you mentioned
love
this
that.
with
No one
Hicks
on
is-
base with Hicks. He's so good.
Yeah.
It was John Boy that mentioned it in the Talking Yanks episode. He said he bats 600, leading off 600 or like 600 with no one on base. Sorry, but when you got runners in scoring position, he's batting like 143.
Yeah, Hicks is situational hitting on the year. Hicks's OPS somehow with runners in scoring position is 905 this year, right?
Wow,
Like,
I must have missed some
yeah.
shit.
It basically what happened was when it comes to Hicks's runners in scoring position, the problem was he was hitting every fifth or sixth or seventh for
Yeah.
most of the year. So you would see him come up with runners in scoring position so often. He would make out so often because again, when his OBP with runners in scoring position is 333, so it's close to like league average. He's slugging 571 though. So like whenever he
Yeah.
does actually hit one, he hits it. So like it's kind of like one of those like if he is gonna get into
Because he
one,
hit that home run with a runner on
yeah,
second, and that really
and then he
inflates
walked a couple times.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
So
And it's very
yeah,
small sample size right now, like very small sample
of
size. But
course,
it's just, and I'm not trying to beat on a dead horse because I know a lot of Yankees fans do this irrationally with Hicks, especially because I do love Aaron Hicks. Like I'm a big advocate for Aaron Hicks. I've been a big advocate for Aaron Hicks ever since he got injured in 2018, following his like 4.5 WAR season, or 2019. I was like, I think that he's still a great center fielder, and right now he's proving that he's still a great center fielder.
yeah,
But the problem is that I'm willing to bet you tomorrow, Aaron Hicks may be on the bench. Or actually, no, it should be Gleyber Torres. Also, we can end on this real quick, and then we could just real quickly here. Tiger series this week. Alexander Cole, Erod against Severino, and then Montgomery against whoever the hell they want to throw out there.
yeah, because Mize is hurt,
Because
so he will not.
Mize is hurt. There goes my fucking AL Cy Young pick. Like, there's no doubt in my mind he's gonna have to have Tommy John. Like when you have like a sore elbow and it's like a strain, and they say, "Oh, it looks good. We're just gonna kind of go get test results." Though that's never a good sign when you have to go get test results and go get another opinion. So sad for Mize. Sucks for him if he is out for an extended period of time. But we have to take 2 out of 3 against Detroit. If we don't, I'm gonna be pissed. And it's not again like end of the world pissed. It's gonna be, guys, we're so much better than this pissed. Like I know we've hyped up Detroit, and you have also said that Detroit's improved a lot, but we're a better team across the board than Detroit Tigers, and they don't have Javi Baez, so it's like we should be able to kind of navigate through this lineup. And if we have Gumby on the mound for our third game, we're not going to see Baду because he can't hit lefties, and we may not even see Meadows because he can't hit them that well. So it's like I don't know.
And to kind of wrap up, so this series, what I want to see LeMahieu staying in the 5 hole. I think LeMahieu and Hicks kind of flipping where they were, where Hicks was more towards that like, yeah, Hicks's skill set. He is going to see a lot of pitches. He's going to walk a lot, and walks with a runner on second and third isn't exactly what you want. But you also don't want Hicks. Yeah, what you don't want is for Hicks to feel like he has to change who he is
and press
to be. Yes, to kind of like change who he is to be a middle of the lineup bat when his skill set is so good at the leadoff spot. Mm-hmm. His sprint speed, 85th percentile now. It shot up. He has become far more athletic.
Even with those steal attempts.
Yeah, so
dude, that first steal attempt when he was trying to take third was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I just like watch him step off the mound and like watch Aaron Hicks run to third and then throw it over there. I'm like, Aaron, you got on second with no one out, and then you tried to steal third. What? But he's running fast, so that's good.
Yeah, and I hope we can see LeMahieu stay in the 5 hole. I think that's the spot for him, right? He's going to put the ball in play quite a bit, and with runners on second and third, right? Hopefully it's not a pulled ground ball. Even then, a pulled ground ball wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You get a good break on it. They're not playing in. You could still score on it.
Yeah,
right?
He's done that, I think, twice already, where he's just hit one through the gap on the right side of the infield, or maybe it's on the left side of the infield when you're looking at the infield. When you're looking at the infield, it's on the right side. Second base, first base side. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And,
and
even if
that's what you want to see. And he's still elevating more. DJ elevate. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, so ultimately, I think that's a good thing to see from now on. I think I like the top 1 through 5. I think, look at the 1 through 5 is Hicks, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, LeMahieu. That's a pretty, like,
Donaldson, 6?
Yeah. Donaldson, 6, Gallo, 7. I think that's, like, the 6 and 7 spots are really the thing that if Donaldson and Gallo get going, which I think they will, I still believe in them. Yeah, the numbers are they're way too much stacked in their favor.
Like for Donaldson, it's way more of a sample size than for Gallo. Because for Donaldson, it's like this guy, literally his career is like an 870 OPS player.
And it's like, I'm going to take, I think as a fan, you kind of have to look at it from the sense of like, the more likely outcome is Donaldson and Gallo are good hitters than they are bad hitters. Right?
Exactly. That's why it's so hard to move them down in the lineup every day. And that's why I'm like, stop fucking with the lineup every day. Just leave people in their spots. Let Hicks bat lead off. Go Hicks, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, DJ, Donaldson, Gallo. And then I don't care who the other guys are. Right. That should be your lineup 4 out of 5 games if you want to win this year.
Yeah, I got why they played around the leadoff spot first because we really didn't know who that could be. Because like
Yes.
LeMahieu struggled out the gate a little bit after that home run, and even then I would say that his skill set doesn't like. It's not that it's not for a leadoff hitter. It's just that I feel like it's less optimized when he
Yeah.
is in a leadoff
It's
spot.
just hard because he's like he like loves to be that leadoff guy. Like
Yeah,
DJ has always been a leadoff beast. Like when he won or when he should have won the MVP with us, he was our leadoff guy. And like even
and
during the shortened season, he was our leadoff guy. Like DJ, when he leads off, he's a good hitter. But the problem is that I agree with you. His skill set just better suits him with runners on base and the opportunity to hit with runners in scoring position. Because DJ's not the guy that's going to press and try to hit everything for a home run. Instead, he's just going to go up there and put together a good at bat and is one of our, in my opinion, best situational hitters.
yeah, he's just his skill set matches up very well with what the Yankees would like in their in the middle of their lineup
Yeah,
when they get guys on, and they have a lot of guys who get on base and Hicks, Rizzo, Stanton, and Judge. I think Rizzo's kind of like the perfect left-handed hitter for the Yankees. I think he
he
kind of
really
has
is, dude.
the
I'm so glad we've gotten him. Like we talked about it a lot, where it's like career-wise, he's very similar to Freddie and Olsen. And granted, Olsen is absolutely destroying the baseball right now, but he apparently was never in the plans. So I'm learning more and more about this front office as offseason as this season goes on. But for us to have gotten Rizzo, I think every Yankees fan at this point now should 100% have wiped away any idea that that was a bad move.
right. And I
Especially
think
for his defense alone, dude. His defense he's saved like 5 runs.
yeah, and I can say comfortably he's probably one of the best position player acquisitions we've made in a little bit in
Yeah,
terms of like a permanent
absolutely.
fixture in the lineup. And I'm just excited to see how the Yankees can bounce back against Detroit.
Yeah,
Cole's got
man.
an opportunity to really have his first really good start of the season,
Exactly.
right? He's got
And
an
we should hit around
opportunity.
Alexander. We have to hit around
Yeah,
Alexander.
left-handed
He was a
pitcher,
reliever
right?
that stretched out to a starter.
Get a good get a jump on him. Try to get to their bullpen, and
Bullpen's bad. Tigers
yeah,
bullpen's bad.
go from there. So I think we can agree that I think it's a good place to leave it there with Detroit. Hey, do a job, right? This is a good team. We know we could beat them. We know that New York Yankees are a good team, and I have the utmost confidence in them to get a job
Yeah.
done.
I just
Even
want to
after they
see
hurt
more of
me.
that shit that Aaron Hicks and Josh Donaldson were all talking about. Like, have some fuck you. Like, where's that been?
Yeah,
Like, Donaldson's bat flip was the first time I've seen have some fuck you all season.
and I don't want Hicks to be discouraged from that caught ceiling for him to not try to be a dynamic base
Oh no, he
runner.
should still try to run. He tried to run the next inning, and then he got or the later on, and then he got thrown out at second. But Judge
Did he get
luckily
thrown out at
worked a
second?
walk.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's
So
why he
like
probably just slowed up because
no, yeah, you're
yeah,
probably right about that. But it's like my point is like at least he's being aggressive. Like all the Yankees, and I like us, and I like seeing us play small ball, but I don't like seeing us play small ball when we have hitters that are not small ball hitters trying to play small ball. Like
yeah.
Glaber, stop bunting.
I
Rizzo's bunt down the first baseline was perfect situational hitting in recognition that no one was there. But then you look at Gallo who tried to bunt. I want to say Hicks set down for a bunt. IKF set down for 2 or 3. It's like, guys, I'm fine with playing small ball, and trying to advance the runner. But when it's literally like one out every time because we're all just sack bunting, like, come on. Like, mix it in a little bit with good plate appearances and trying to drive the ball the other way. And Cameron Maben was talking about it. Hit the ball to center field. Like, try to
right.
drive the baseball. Don't just bunt. Don't just immediately, like, surrender your at-bat because you're not feeling good. That's the only gripe I have with Glaber's at-bat. It's like, I know you're struggling, man, but swing away. I'd much rather you see you take 4 pitches and swing at 3 disgusting sliders and be like, damn, Glaber, than see you sack bunt for an automatic out because we did nothing with that.
Right. So ultimately, let's get the bats going, and I
Yeah, man.
think we should be in for a good series if we can do that. So
Hopefully, dude. Hopefully we
yeah,
celebrate a run onslaught in our next recap, dude.
or just a run. A run would be nice. A
just
run
a
would be
run.
nice. Just get me one at least, right? But thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you guys' support so much,
As
and
always.
we'll see you guys
Yeah,
in the
like and
next
subscribe
episode.
again. Don't we're gonna plug that at the end. Like and
Yeah.
subscribe, people, and make sure to follow along. Ryan here, his MVP candidate, Jose Ramirez,
Yeah, it's off to a good start, so we'll see from there.
looking good. Stick around,
Yeah.
people.
But thank you guys so much for watching. You see that ticker down below that's sliding by? That's our Twitters, Instagrams. That's our Twitters. You should go ahead and you should follow for
You
sure.
should.
There's our
We
Twitters
put some
are
good content.
Yeah, our tours are above our heads, below the screen. There are so many places where it is right now. It's really not an excuse to not follow us, honestly, at
Yeah.
that point, right? I think it's just
Yeah.
so out there. But again,
Mm.
thank you guys for your support. You guys have been great with it. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
Adios.